Some viewers may find this content disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. My creatures of the night, yes, welcome back once again to another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on Starfox Radio. We are going to head back deep in history tonight and figure out some of the lore about the Cynocephali. Yet I am extremely hungry. I shall return in a few. Much better. I feel unleashed and ready to stalk the infamous Dogman throughout history. So without further ado, it is time to take a stroll into the unknown. Lore and legend of the Dogman. Throughout history, many prominent cultures have spoken about dogmen or dog-headed people who lurk the landscape. Some have even whispered that the Egyptian god Anubis may have been one of the original dogmen, or at least an original being in the Cynocephali tribe. In Africa and India, the Cynocephali were a tribe of dog-headed humans native to the continents. The name Cynocephali means dog-headed, from the word Greek kun, meaning dog, and cephalus, meaning head. In European culture, the Ude, Rode, Ugan is the name used to describe a 6 to 8 foot tall, bipedal, dark black, a werewolf-like creature with pointed ears, long, lanky, human-like arms, and large, raccoon hands with 2 bright red eyes. These beings were believed to terrorize the landscape. The first mention of a dogman was around 290 BC in Greek literature. This just gives more credence to the topic, showing the dogman phenomenon has been going on almost since we started documenting our existence in text form. The following is an insert from ancient historical references referring to the dogman. On the Indian mountains, there lived men with the head of a dog, whose clothing is the skin of wild beasts. They speak no language, but bark like dogs, and in this manner make themselves understood by each other. Their teeth are larger than those of normal canines, and they have nails that are like that of other living animals, but much longer, rounder, and sharper. These beings inhabit the mountains as far as the Indus River. Their complexion is swarthy. They are extremely just. Like the rest of the natives with whom they associate, they understand the indigenous language, but are unable to converse, only barking or making signs with their hands and fingers by way of reply. They are called by the natives calistri, in Greek, Cynocephali. They live on raw meat and number around 120,000. Celtic Druids, the Greeks, and Romans all have tons of manuscripts depicting these dog people as living beings within society. A very well recognized example of this is the St. Christopher Doghead, which is one of the more acknowledged holy manuscripts making a reference to the Dogmen. Numerous prominent historical figures, such as Herodotus, Alexander the Great, and others, have had their own encounters with these mysterious beasts known as the Cynocephali. Alexander the Great, who has been widely credited for pivotal events involving the expansion of Rome, spoke of going to war and battling the Cynocephali creatures. On his voyage across the United States of America, Christopher Columbus told his own stories of seeing and encountering dog people. When asking the indigenous cultures he met amongst his journeys about these creatures, they proceeded to tell him these dog people are ancient beings that have been here long before mankind ever existed, and that they should be feared. Indigenous peoples also spoke of these beings they called skinwalkers, but from my gatherings, these are separate entities from Dogmen and are more along the lines of werewolves, which I cover in another episode. A forest ranger from the Shawnee tribe named David Walks His Bear helped me understand this topic more clearly. David says in North American culture, which is pretty generic from one indigenous culture to another, that these tribes looked at shapeshifters and skinwalkers as tricksters and causers of mischief and chaos, rather than a bloodthirsty animal such as a dogman. David proceeds to point out that only in more modern times has the perception of skinwalkers changed to be more viewed as evil. David also points out another big difference between a dogman and a skinwalker is dogmen aren't believed to be shapeshifters. They stay in the form of an animal. Many of these indigenous tribes also tell of hearing howls and shrieks in the night, as the local Sasquatch would be in dangerous battles with the dog beings. It is also reported these creatures were fighting over food and territorial disputes. Natives who witnessed these fights claim the dog-like creatures for the most part were winning these violent confrontations, tending to leave behind Sasquatch or severely injured ones, and the rest were running off into the forests. It was also reported that once the Sasquatch lost the territorial disputes, they would no longer be seen in the area. They fled. What is truly interesting to me is that throughout history, so many cultures who had no way to communicate with one another all reported seeing and encountering similar type entities known as the Dogman. All these encounters seem to share a very eerie similarity in the depictions of how the events unfolded, which is just another example to bring merit to the topic. What is a dogman? As of 6/15/2023, Jody Cook, the founder of the North American Dogman Project, reported there are over 1,000 members worldwide who are involved in the NADP. As an active dogman researcher, it is my responsibility and duty to share my knowledge, make sure it is credible, make sure it's easily accessible, and get it to a group of people or extremely credible people in the scientific community who can help shine proper light on this phenomenon. The dogman is believed to be an undocumented animal species to the modern scientific world. Descriptions of this animal suggest it is anywhere from 6 to 9 feet tall, with either a jet black, dark brown, ash gray, or pale white coloring to its fur. The animal is believed to be bipedal and quadrupedal, standing and walking on two large, muscular, canine-like legs that are bent back. The torso of the animal is described to have a large, muscular, human-like frame connecting onto two large, human-like arms that are also attached to very large, raccoon-like hands and claws. There are believed to be many different variations of the creature, which we will cover in the next episode coming up. But to touch base right now, type 1 is described as having a massive human-like torso and looking like your generic werewolf. Type 2 looks more like a werewolf with a German Shepherd head, and type 3 looks like a werewolf with a hyena head, with type 1 and type 2 making up for the majority of the sightings, around 80%. All versions have glowing amber red eyes, yellow eyes, blue eyes, and potentially green eyes, 2 ears positioned and perked up towards the top of their heads. Type 3 has a very specific reflection to their eye shine. This mysterious animal is believed to weigh anywhere between 300 to 600 pounds, or even larger, at more than half of the sites where these encounters occur. This mysterious apex predator leaves behind massive canine-looking tracks, with strides being up to 48 inches apart, clearly showing the animal is bipedal and walking upright on 2 legs. A wolf's stride is anywhere from 28 to 30 inches apart. Dogman vocalizations are also reported to sound canine-like-ish, but have a much different tone to them, sounding more humanish and primal. Some important details to understand and distinguish the difference between a coyote, wolf, or dogman print is a large wolf specimen would leave a print or prints that are roughly 5 inches in length and around 3 to 4 inches in width. A track left behind by a dogman would be in the range of 7 inches in length and 4 to 5 inches in width, making it fairly easy to identify the animal that has left the impression behind. The dogman has been reported to easily be able to carry away farm animals weighing anywhere from 1,200 to 1,300 pounds or larger. 33% of dogman sightings occur between 9 p.m. to 12 a.m., 21% from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m., 11% from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., 10% from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m., 9% from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., 7% from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., 4.5% from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., and 4.5% are being reported from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. 44% of dogman encounters are occurring during the summer, 22% in the fall, 17% in the winter, and 17% in the spring. 67% of these sightings are reported by civilians, while 22% are reported by law enforcement and 11% by military personnel. As of 2023, there are over 140 active dogman sightings that are being recorded and documented by the North American Dogman Project, with 34% of the sightings coming from 3 states. Wisconsin with 21, Ohio with 20, and 9 coming from Michigan. Some of the darker details emerging from eyewitnesses and their encounters are the reports of these animals trying door handles and windows to see if they are able to gain access if they are unlocked. Other people have reported being potentially drawn away from their vehicles or residence by mysterious sounds and even activity. Some even report hearing familiar-sounding voices asking for help in the darkness, seeming quite obvious something was trying to lure them into a trap. Some of the reports said animals, trees, or other objects were being left in the middle of the road, forcing a motorist to have to pull over or turn around, when a driver would emerge from their vehicle to check out the situation. They would report seeing a huge bipedal wolf with amber red eyes staring at them from the nearby brush or tree line. If that doesn't get you thinking, there are other details coming out from these reports that are just shocking. These details involve people witnessing in person or later from security cameras these dogman creatures trying to take people's pets, and even successfully sometimes taking people's pets and gaining entrance to their yard. How are they taking the pets? By simply reaching over the fence and just snagging the animal from the yard or ripping them off their chain. These pets usually are never found, and if they are, the corpse is destroyed and mangled. It is also noted kill sites of dogmen, local predators, and animals in general tend to steer very clear of the surrounding area. Other details outline strange happenings and sounds around people's properties or campsites, and upon investigation, the witnesses would have things thrown at them, such as tree branches or even rocks. Weird sounds and occurrences even suggest these animals are trying to get people to carelessly follow them from safety into a very dangerous encounter. Almost every interaction with a dogman or dogmen is for the most part considered to be a hostile encounter, and that these creatures are apex predators and that are extremely aggressive and even potentially predatory towards humans. A very common misconception is that the dogmen are afraid of lights. This couldn't be further from the truth. Whether you're inside with all the lights on or jogging at high noon, if this animal wants to get you, it very easily will. Dogmen are well aware of their surroundings, what a human is, and that when we use a gun or point a gun at them, that it will cause harm or pain, which you would expect the reaction of a living, breathing, intelligent animal to play out. This again touches back to my previous topic of dogmen being highly intelligent apex predators. Numerous eyewitnesses report that they've gotten some clean hits on dogmen, and this dogman took some of this lead at close range. Very final haunting detail is that dogs and cats want nothing to do with the dogman. As soon as they sense that they are around, the pets dash for safety as quietly as possible. I have done my own experiment on this alleged aspect of an encounter, and it plays out just as you would expect. A number of eyewitnesses have also reported finding mutilated corpses of animals that look as if they were just tossed every which way in a frenzy. Confused, the witnesses will go and inspect the site. As their bewilderment intensifies, it seems very apparent to them that something extremely large is watching them from the tree line just in the shadows. Hunters, hikers, and outdoor enthusiasts speak of finding severed animal parts thrown up into trees as if something is trying to mark its territory or flaunting its massacre. All dogmen sites that have been investigated all seem to have the same theme or extreme brutality. Decapitation seeming to be a dogman special. David Politis, a former police detective and author, has been tracking the phenomenon of vanishing people in America's national parks since 2012. He has published his research in a series of books called The Missing 411. Politis doesn't come out and say what is taking people, but he does say something or some things is actively hunting people in our national parks. Ironically, many dogman sightings are occurring in and around campgrounds, which are located within our national parks. Does this suggest they look at humans as an easy food source? People also ask, why aren't there more physical encounters that involve survivors talking about their stories? Well, let's be fully realistic for a minute. The odds are the person having this encounter sadly isn't going to survive with a dogman if that creature wanted you. A wild statistic is when someone goes missing in a national park, it's usually not the park that releases the information. It was always family and friends. Only recently has the American National Park Service begun to keep a database of missing people. Before, it was only word of mouth. My personal belief on the subject is that these dogmen are living, breathing animals, and I'm going to provide some documented examples of why I feel this way about the topic. Dogmen have been spotted in dens and lairs, which seem to go extremely deep and even connect to other burrows. It is believed that these dens and lairs are being used as passageways for these creatures to travel back and forth. Many encounters occur by water in an area of land that has plentiful food sources, such as a game preserve. These dogmen are seen to be communicating with each other, Howling and growling, snarling, and using canine sounds, they have been reported to be extremely intelligent and well aware of their surroundings and environment and exactly who and what you are. Witnesses report the animal begins staring at you and that their eyes have the look of a sheer machine, and that you get an ominous feeling that the end is near. There have been many reports of these massive wolf-like creatures being able to stalk their victims in extreme stealth mode. Many large apex predators, such as cats, crocodiles, wolves, bears, and other apex predators, all push themselves down to the ground in a flattened out manner. This is a way to cloak themselves and vanish into their surroundings. Dogmen are believed to be able to do the same thing, except in a more advanced hunting technique. This gives the predator, who is able to mix itself into its surroundings, a much game-changing advantage versus potential victims/prey. Before, during, and after an encounter, people report that the air is left with an overwhelming smell of rotten meat, blood, and a mixture of wet dog and even fox piss. Shockingly, these beasts have been seen in packs with normal wolves, coyotes, and even other dogmen. This makes the whole concept of a pack animal more terrifying than you could ever imagine when you begin to put the facts that there is a group of savage dog creatures running through America's national forests. Yeah, nightmare fuel. At the scene of almost every dogman encounter, witnesses report, upon gathering the courage to check the area, that they find physical evidence left behind. This could range from 5-digit claw marks on doors and screens or the siding of houses. This could be hair, slobber, drool, and even footprints found at some sites. Some of the gathered evidence even contained unknown canine DNA in several instances. Remember, as time goes by, your mind creates false memories, making it imperative to gather eyewitness testimonials sooner than later. If this isn't enough evidence to get you thinking that the dogman is a real animal, then continue to listen and let me sway your thinking. There is an animal that once roamed the globe, Amphicyonidae, which was canine and bear-like, but belonged fully to neither species. Scientists also believed it was capable of walking bipedally and quadrupedally with ease based on the design of their hips and overall bone structure. To be frank, it resembles a lot of what people report to be a dogman. Thank you again for everyone who took time out of their busy night and schedule to hang out in the Fox Den for another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on StarFox Radio. If you do enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, and share it. Feed the algorithm, and I will see you on the next one.